So, da begrüße ich wieder zurück zu einem neuen Part von The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Mein Name ist Koparius und wir haben es eine Ehre, für diesen Part aufnehmen zu dürfen und wir machen weiter mit dem New Content. Wir machen weiter mit Excitement und Vorfreude, denn ich möchte schauen, was dieses Spiel jetzt wirklich Neues für uns hat, denn ich bin ein Completionist, ich möchte, dass dieses Projekt natürlich perfekt ist und deswegen habe ich auch den alten Content, den ich eigentlich schon kannte, trotzdem nochmal gemacht. Erstens, um wie gesagt ein komplettes Projekt zu haben, wo alles drin ist, aber auch um nochmal die Endings mir nochmal, sagen wir mal, frisch in Erinnerung zu bringen. Von daher war es natürlich nicht super exciting, ne, weil ich da jetzt nicht wirklich von überrascht werden konnte, außer in der einen Situation. Aber es ist dennoch, sagen wir mal, ganz gut gewesen. Und jetzt bin ich aber dennoch natürlich super excited zu schauen, was hier neu für uns bereitsteht. Super hyped, denn ich liebe The Stanley Parable und ich will neuen Content. So, hier können wir irgendwie nicht durch. The Serious Room, ja. The Serious Room 2013, wo uns auf die Hände gehauen wurde dafür, dass wir damals, Cheats aktivieren wollten. In entweder dann der Half-Life 2 Mod oder im Stanley Parable Spiel selbst, was da halt wirklich noch eine Umsetzung, halt eine Konsole hatte. Wie gesagt, das ist hier in dieser Version einfach nicht möglich. Okay, warte mal. Gut, es scheint, hier können wir nicht durch, sondern wir müssen dann wohl in den Maintenance Room. Gehe ich jetzt mal von aus.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back. To have it all over again?
Ja, Flugzeug schon zu. Tut mir leid, ich würde gerne mein Fenster zumachen, aber dann würde ich jetzt hier bei den Temperaturen gekocht werden und elendig verenden. Von daher, ich brauche definitiv die frische Luft. So, dann dürfen wir jetzt hier mal im Ende schon.
Hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Okay, ich dachte, du hast hier alles gemacht, Mr. Narrator. Wenn du nicht mal weißt, was sich hier befindet, dann wird das nicht gut enden. Half-Life 2.
Oh no.
Habe ich auch letztens dieses Jahr gespielt.
Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here.
Oh Gott, Reviews.
Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Oh. Da hören wir schon so die schlechte Musik. Also das Game, also das Design hier von diesem Bereich erinnert mich halt sehr an Half-Life 2. Aber hier Reviews, Steam-Reviews in den Containern. Tja, Game-Kritiker, das wissen wir meistens auch in Film, Fernsehen, Videospielen. Kritikermeinungen und Spielermeinungen können sich in vielen Fällen sehr, sehr, sehr stark differenzieren. Da haben wir meistens sogar diese berühmten Bilder bei IGN, wo dann irgendwie Critiker-Score 9 von 10 und Player-Score irgendwie 1,5 von 10 oder so. Aber eigentlich ist The Stanley Parable auch sehr gut bewertet auf Steam. Not recommended. Hier ist eine positive Bewertung, aber hier. Not recommended, 2.9 hours on record. Posted 28th of June 2018. Okay, also sehr viele Jahre nach dem Release. 1:21 p.m. Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. The individual paths themselves are also not very fun, not offering much to do throughout each path, and requiring some rather tedious nonsense to get certain endings. I cannot recommend this game to anyone, even as a so bad it's good game, as you will more than likely wind up bored by your third or fourth playthrough. Von Baglivia. Mal schauen, wird unser guter Herr jetzt ausflippen?
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Jetzt muss auch noch zu regnen, das typische Klischee. Immer wenn irgendwas Schlechtes passiert, regnet es an dem Tag. Besonders wenn meistens irgendjemand stirbt oder so. In Film und Fernsehen. Da, wo ich meine Bildung hernehme. Können wir da wieder einfach hochlaufen? Nein. Ja doch, können wir. Wow. Wow. Da sind überall Container voll von Steam-Reviews. Ich bin mal gespannt. Aber interessantes Design, muss man ja sagen. Also, hier sind wir nicht mehr an die Ketten des Büros gebunden. Hier auch 2 negative Reviews, not recommended. Also wie gesagt, ich kann jetzt mal mitten in der Aufnahme kurz mal nachschauen. Wir können hier mal sogar, können wir nicht einfach auf die Shop-Seite hier gehen? Jetzt hier das hier schließen. Guides, Screenshots, Tastenkürzel. Gehen wir jetzt mal, genau, gehen wir mal auf den Shop und dann hier Stanley Parable. Und dann haben wir hier, guck mal, sehr positiv, also 91% positiv und 92% positiv, also deswegen von Galactic Cafe. Von daher auch die Spieler, das ist halt gerade eine sehr selektive Sache, also yeah, Special Achievements, nice game, it has been 5 years, I did it. For people who only think bad reviews are right, this game is the best. Okay. Grape? I waited 5 years to get an achievement. Ah, so. 5 years I did it. Ah, verstehe. Overrated but interesting, 10 of 10 game. Played this game back in 2016. I love the story of the Stanley narrator. Upon reading the review, the reader felt compelled to purchase the game, and immediately did so. The game is not. Ja, wie gesagt, da seht ihr, das einzige negative Review ist von jemandem, der trollt. Also von daher, wenn wir jetzt wieder was Negatives sehen, dann wäre das eine sehr selektive Auswahl. Ja, scheint wohl wieder negativ zu sein. Toll. Ach, Narrator. Mr. Narrator, please don't listen to those reviews. Hier ist sogar was Positives, aber das können wir nicht lesen. Not recommended. 3.1 hours on the record. Posted 5th of June 2016, 11:08 AM. While the idea for the game is good, it becomes very repetitive and boring. Fast, despite all the alternative endings and game cameo appearances. This game is titled thought-provoking, but you will get the idea it tries to communicate pretty fast. And then it's just repeating the whole no choice in games thing over and over again. For somebody who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast, as it's neither a revelation nor very interesting. It is thought-provoking only in the first minutes.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games,
von Nudelschaf.
Gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Ja, weil 9% von 100 negative Bewertungen sind. Egal. Okay. Creepy Music. Okay, gut, los. Da fällt er jetzt dem Wahnsinn oder was? Matschka. Ja, dann runter hier. Not recommended. 9.8 hours on record. Posted 9th of March 2014, 4:30 p.m. I get it's supposed to be a parable of something, but listening to their patronizing voice, droning on and on, just isn't fun. You constantly have to stop doing anything to so that narrators can catch up with this long-winded explanation of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. Von Cookie 9. Das stimmt, manchmal muss man echt ein bisschen auf den Narrator warten, dass er erstmal zu Ende redet, bevor man halt in den nächsten Bereich geht.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Oh Gott. Weswegen einer random Negativ-Review haben wir jetzt einen Skip-Button. Eieiei.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. Got the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be.
Ich liebe den Erzähler. Ich will die ganze Zeit zuhören, wie er irgendeinen Quark labert.
So much more than forever ago, which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably,
aber ihr habt zumindest
until
komplett
the end
angehört.
of time, at which time everything all at once, so. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto.
Okay, erzähl weiter.
At this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look. I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
Wie gesagt,
Treatise, manifesto.
für mich ist der Erzähler einer der die tollste Sache eigentlich. Also, ohne den Erzähler würde das Spiel so nicht geben. Deswegen will ich niemals so dreist sein und ihn skippen. Aber wir können wahrscheinlich sogar früher ihn die ganze Zeit wegskippen, aber ich will mir natürlich anhören, was er zu sagen hat. Aber jetzt mal das halt für immer, bis wir skippen.
Manifesto. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation.
Wie gesagt, man kann es schon tun. Mach dir keine Sorgen.
Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope
das
to
Problem
those
ist
who
halt,
have ever erred in
du
their
hast,
judgment.
lieber Herr Narrator, du hast in diesem Spiel den Skip-Button gepackt. Das ändert doch aber nicht das originale Stanley Parable. Selbst wenn das jetzt hier drin ist, dann würde er halt hier eine neue und positive Review schreiben. Aber würde doch nicht vorher das ändern.
A privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world, there is time for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future. Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review. It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving. I have to read it again.
Oh, no.
It's simply too wonderful. I have to experience this just one more time.
Okay, nein.
From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their judgment. You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If there is any message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world, there is time for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future. Wow.
Wow.
Now, Stanley,
That's the review.
It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving. Well, I have to read it again. It's simply too wonderful. I have to experience this.
Ja, ist ja gut, so.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option.
I try, man, I try.
I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
Ich warte ein bisschen, ne? Ich warte ein bisschen. Ich versuche das jetzt ein bisschen mit meinem Gelatin-Gelaber zu überbrücken, aber ich glaube, der einzige Weg, meine lieben Freunde, wie wir rauskommen, ist, wenn wir den Skip-Button drücken. Glaube ich jetzt. Würde ich jetzt behaupten, weil ich weiß ja nicht, ne? Gute Frage, ne? Was habt ihr heute gegessen? Also ich habe heute bis jetzt sogar, ich glaube sogar nur gefrühstückt, ja. 2 Scheiben Brot, Schwarzbrot so, ich weiß nicht, ob das Dinkel jetzt war, auch ein bisschen leicht getoastet, ein bisschen Crunch reinzubringen, dann Nutella drauf, dass die Nutella so ein bisschen schön leicht schmilzt, wenn man sie auf das heiße Brot tut und ja, von daher war das halt lecker, aber sonst habe ich so. Ja, und noch meine Mutter hatte einen Cookies gebacken, wo sie auch so weiße und schwarze Schokolade auch so reingepackt hat, dass das ein bisschen da schmilzt. Von daher habe ich da auch mal ein bisschen was gegessen. Aber sonst glaube ich nicht. Oh. Ich glaube, wir müssen klicken, oder? So, haben wir es? Ne? Okay. Na gut, dann müssen wir wohl hier, ja, an dieser Stelle den Part beenden. Und im nächsten Part werden wir dann schauen, was der nächste Skip so bringen wird. Dankeschön fürs Zuschauen. Wir sehen uns zum nächsten Part. Bis dann und ciao.